Hey everyone, welcome back to English Podcast for You, your cozy corner on YouTube to practice real, natural English while we talk about the messy, beautiful things in life. I'm Leo.
And I'm Lily. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Whether you're walking to work, washing dishes, or having a quiet cup of coffee right now, we are so happy you're here with us.
Truly. And hey, if you're an intermediate English learner, don't stress about understanding every single word. Just relax, listen to the flow of the conversation, and let the language sink in naturally.
Exactly. No grammar tests today. Promise. But before we jump into today's topic, Leo, why did you send me a text message at 2 a.m. last night saying, I think they made a mistake hiring me?
Oh man, you weren't supposed to reveal my midnight crisis on the podcast.
I had to, because when I saw that text, I realized we have to talk about this today.
Yeah, you're right. Last night, I was sitting at my desk preparing a big presentation for work, and suddenly this voice inside my head whispered, "You don't know what you're doing. Everyone else in that room is smarter than you. You're just pretending."
Oh, Leo, that voice is so loud sometimes, isn't it?
It really is. It made me feel so inadequate, like no matter how hard I work, I'm just not good enough to sit at that meeting table.
You know what that feeling is called, right?
Imposter syndrome.
Exactly. That constant, terrifying feeling that you are a fraud. Like one day, someone is going to tap you on the shoulder at your job or in your university and say, "Excuse me, we realize you aren't actually smart enough to be here. Please pack your bags."
Yes, that exact scenario. Why do our brains do that?
Honestly, I think it's because we compare our own messy, hidden doubts with everyone else's polished, perfect outside.
Wow. Say that again. That hit hard.
It's true. When you look around your workplace or classroom, you only see people looking confident, answering questions, and doing their jobs. You don't see their internal panic.
Right. You see their highlight reel, but you live in your own blooper reel.
Exactly. That's such a good way to put it.
But Lily, let's be real for a minute. When you get that thought, "I am not smart enough," it feels like an absolute fact. It doesn't feel like just a thought.
I know. I used to feel that way every single day when I got my first corporate job after college.
Wait, really? You? But you're always so organized and confident.
Oh, Leo, please. Back then, I was a nervous wreck. Every time my manager called me into her office, my heart would drop into my stomach. I was convinced she was about to fire me.
What did she think she was going to say?
I thought she'd say, "Lily, we checked your background and we realize you don't actually have the capability to handle this role."
And what actually happened?
She asked me if I wanted green tea or black tea and then gave me a raise.
Oh, no way. You built up this whole dramatic tragedy in your head over tea?
Yes, but that shows you how powerful the imposter feeling is. It distorts reality. It makes you look at your genuine accomplishments and think, "Oh, I just got lucky," or "they were just being nice to me."
Oof, that constant search for external validation.
Because if you don't believe you earned your spot, no amount of compliments will fix it. You just assume they haven't caught on to your secret yet.
Oh, and can we talk about how much heavier this feels when you're speaking or working in a second language?
Oh, absolutely. To all our English learners listening right now, if you have ever felt hesitant to speak up in a business meeting or class presentation or even at a coffee shop because you felt like your English made you sound less smart, please raise your hand.
My hand is high up in the air.
Mine too.
When you're translating in your head or searching for a vocabulary word, it's so easy to mistake a language barrier for a lack of intelligence.
Yes, that is such a crucial distinction, Leo. Making a grammar mistake or pausing to find a word does not mean you lack capability. It just means you're operating in a whole second language. That actually proves how smart you are.
Man, I really needed to hear that today.
So, Leo, back to your 2 a.m. panic text. How do we start changing the story in our heads? How do we stop feeling like an imposter?
Well, one thing my mentor told me years ago really stuck with me. He said, Leo, companies don't hire people out of charity.
That's very straightforward.
Right? He told me, they interviewed you. They looked at your skills, your background, and your potential. You didn't trick anyone. You earned your spot.
That's so powerful. You didn't get into that room by accident. You were invited in because of what you bring to the table.
Exactly. But accepting that takes time. You have to practice treating yourself with the same kindness you'd give a close friend.
If a friend came to you and said, I feel so inadequate at my job, you wouldn't say, yeah, you're right, you should quit. You'd remind them of how hard they worked and how much they've grown.
Exactly. We need to start talking to ourselves the way we talk to the people we love.
Right. It's like we have this double standard for ourselves. We give everyone else grace, but we treat our own small mistakes like a massive failure.
Oh, completely. If a coworker stumbles on a word during a presentation, I think, oh, no big deal, they're busy. But if I stumble on a word, I spend 3 days replaying it in my head before I go to sleep.
The classic late-night cringe replay. We all do it. But honestly, Leo, what do you think is the very first step when that feeling of being a fraud creeps in?
I think step 1 is just labeling it. Instead of saying, I am not smart enough, you say, oh, look, my imposter syndrome is acting up again. You separate yourself from the thought.
Yes, that creates distance. The thought isn't you. It's just a feeling passing through.
Exactly. And then step 2, step 2 is gathering your evidence.
Ooh, evidence. Like a detective?
Precisely. A detective for your own success. Because your brain is going to present a fake case against you, saying you don't have the capability to do your job. So you have to pull out real facts.
Like past projects you completed, positive feedback from your team, or even exams you passed to get where you are.
Right. You don't wait for outside validation to feel secure. You look at the track record you built with your own 2 hands. You prove to yourself that you earned your spot.
I love that. It's like building an anchor so the wind of self-doubt can't blow you away.
That's such a comforting image, Lily. An anchor.
Well, I try. But another thing that helps is actually talking about it with people at work or school. When I finally admitted to a colleague that I felt totally lost, she laughed and said, wait, you too? I've been pretending to understand our weekly meetings for 6 months.
No way! She actually said that?
Yes. And in that moment, the shame completely dissolved. Because imposter syndrome thrives in secrecy. When you keep it hidden, you feel completely isolated.
That makes so much sense. When you realize everyone else is also figuring things out as they go, the pressure drops.
Exactly. No one has it all figured out, Leo. Absolutely no one. We're all just learning, adapting, and doing our best.
So if everyone is learning on the job, then not knowing everything right away doesn't make you inadequate at all. It just makes you human.
Bingo. You hit the nail right on the head.
Man, just hearing you say that makes my chest feel a whole lot lighter. But okay, Lily, let's get tactical for a second. What happens when you're actually in the moment?
What do you mean? Like, in the middle of a meeting?
Exactly. Imagine you're sitting in a big corporate room or a university lecture hall, and your boss or professor suddenly turns to you and asks for your opinion. Your mind goes completely blank. Your heart starts racing, and that voice screams, "They know. They finally figured out you're a fraud." What do you actually do right then?
Oh, I know that sudden panic so well. My hands used to get all sweaty. First rule, take a breath and buy yourself 5 seconds.
5 seconds? Doesn't silence make you look like you don't know the answer, though?
Not at all. That's a huge myth. Panicked people rush to talk immediately and start rambling. Confident people pause. You can simply say, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a second."
Wow, let me think about that for a second. That sounds so calm and composed.
Right. It shows control. And it gives your brain time to catch up so you don't feel inadequate. You aren't avoiding the question, you're just honoring your own thought process.
That's brilliant. And for English learners especially, using simple buying time phrases like that is a game changer. Saying, let me frame this correctly, or that's an interesting point. Give me one moment. Gives you time to translate without looking nervous.
Yes, exactly. It turns a moment of panic into a moment of authority.
I'm definitely using that in my presentation tomorrow. If anyone asks a hard question, I'll just look very wise, nod slowly, and say, "Fascinating point. Let me reflect on that."
See? Look at you already mastering corporate survival.
I'm faking it till I'm making my way through. But wait, is faking it till you make it actually good advice? Because sometimes I feel like pretending to be confident just makes me feel more like an imposter.
Ooh, that's such a deep question. I actually dislike the phrase, fake it till you make it.
Really? Why?
Because the word fake reinforces the idea that you are a fake. It feeds the feeling that you don't have the capability to be there naturally.
Whoa, that makes so much sense. So what should we say instead?
I prefer practice it until you become it. You're not faking anything, you're just practicing a new skill. Confidence is a muscle, Leo. You don't expect to lift a heavy weight at the gym on your first day without practicing, right?
Right. You build up to it over time.
Exactly. So when you speak up in a meeting despite being nervous, you aren't faking confidence, you are actively practicing bravery. And over time, that bravery becomes real confidence.
Practicing bravery. I really, really love that framing, Lily. That shifts everything from being dishonest to just being in training.
Because you are in training. Every single step in your career or education is a learning process. Nobody expects a junior employee to act like a CEO, and nobody expects a student to know as much as a professor.
But we put that expectation on ourselves, don't we?
All the time. We demand perfection from day one, and when we fall short of perfection, we think we need constant external validation just to feel okay staying in the room.
Yeah, we keep waiting for a gold star or a diploma or a manager to say, "Okay, Leo, officially today, you are smart enough." But that stamp of approval never comes in the way we expect it to.
Because real confidence can't be given to you from the outside. You have to internalize the fact that you earned your spot. You applied, you interviewed, you showed up, and you're putting in the work.
Thinking about this from an intermediate English learner's perspective again, a lot of people feel like imposters because of their accent or small grammar mistakes. They think, if my English isn't perfect, I don't belong in this international company or university.
And that makes me so sad when I hear that, because speaking more than one language is literally a superpower.
It really is. If you are working or studying in a language that isn't your native one, you are already doing life on hard mode.
Exactly. You're playing the game on extra difficulty and still holding your own.
Right? If you stumble on a preposition or use the wrong tense, who cares? The fact that you are communicating complex business or academic ideas in a foreign language proves your capability beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Accent or no accent, your voice deserves to be heard in that room.
Thanks, Lily. Honestly, this whole chat is making me look at my 2 a.m. freakout in a completely different light.
Good. Next time you want to send a midnight text saying you're a fraud, I'm just going to reply with a voice note of me laughing.
Please do. Remind me that I'm just practicing my bravery.
Always. But hey, let's talk about another trap people fall into when dealing with this. Overworking.
Oh man, the toxic hustle.
Yes. When people feel inadequate, their automatic defense mechanism is often to work 14 hours a day to prove they belong. They think if they stay late, answer emails instantly, and take on 10 extra projects, nobody will suspect them.
Lily, are you looking at my daily schedule right now? Because that feels very personal.
Leo, don't tell me you do that too.
Okay, maybe a little bit. I always feel like if I'm not constantly working, I'm falling behind. I feel like I have to work twice as hard just to stay equal with everyone else.
Oh, Leo, that is the fastest expressway to total burnout.
I know, but when you're caught in that loop, stopping feels dangerous. You tell yourself, if I take a break, everything will fall apart, and people will see that I wasn't qualified in the first place.
But overworking doesn't cure imposter syndrome, Leo. It actually feeds it. Because when a project goes well, your brain just goes, "Phew, I only survived because I worked myself to exhaustion." It never lets you see that your normal effort and core capability are already enough.
Right. You attribute the success to the panic and the late hours, not to your actual skill.
Exactly. You're endlessly trying to earn your spot over and over again every single day instead of realizing that you already bought the ticket. You're already inside the theater.
I love that metaphor. The ticket has already been scanned.
Exactly. Sit down and enjoy the movie. You don't need to keep showing your ID to the person sitting next to you.
That's so true. And honestly, for anyone listening who feels like they constantly need external validation, a gold star from a boss, a top grade from a professor, or a compliment from a colleague, it's so exhausting to live like that.
It really is, because external praise is like a temporary bandage. It feels nice for 5 minutes, but by the next morning, the self-doubt creeps right back in. The real shift happens inside when you learn to validate yourself.
How do you actually do that, though? How do you give yourself that validation when that critical internal voice is so loud?
For me, it started with keeping a small notebook on my desk. I call it my evidence journal. Every time I handle a tough call, solve a problem, or learn something new, I write it down.
Just small daily wins?
Small daily wins, nothing dramatic, just concrete proof that I'm growing. So whenever I start feeling inadequate or overwhelmed, I open that notebook and read through my own history. It grounds me in reality instead of letting my anxiety run the show.
That's such a practical, gentle tool. I'm definitely going to start doing that. A quick list of facts to fight off the bad feelings.
It really works. And remember, feeling like an imposter doesn't mean you're in the wrong place. It usually just means you're stepping outside your comfort zone and growing.
Exactly. Growth feels uncomfortable. If you never felt a little out of your depth, you'd probably be bored out of your mind.
Spot on, Leo. So, the next time that voice tells you you aren't smart enough, just smile and say, "Thanks for your opinion, but I'm learning something new today."
I love that. Well, Lily, I feel 100 times better about my presentation tomorrow now. Thank you for talking me through my midnight panic.
Anytime, Leo. That's what friends are for. And to everyone listening today on English Podcast for You, thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Yes, thank you all. If you've ever felt like a fraud or worried that you weren't good enough in your job or studies, just know that you are not alone. Be kind to yourself today. Keep practicing your English and remember that you belong in every room you walk into.
Take care of yourselves, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye!